One of the hottest topics in AI today is RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. You've probably heard of it by now and how it uses a vector database to perform semantic search. This can be highly effective at improving LLM responses, but it really only works well with unstructured data like documents or emails. When it comes to structured data, like tables in an SQL database, a different type of storage and retrieval is needed. That's where knowledge graphs come in. Knowledge graphs store data using nodes and edges, where the nodes represent objects and the edges represent their relationships. This enables new types of searches and reporting that would be impossible with SQL. Let's see how you can set up your own knowledge graph using Neo4j and integrate it with Appsmith to start building your own graph RAG pipeline today. All right, we're going to be using Docker Desktop to run Neo4j and Appsmith both locally. So if you don't have it installed yet, just go to docker.com. They have installs for Mac, Windows, and Linux. So once you have that installed, you'll want to go to the images section here and search for Neo4j. And then this top result here, the one with the most downloads, that should be the official one. So we're going to run this. And this will take just a minute to download and get the container running. All right, the download's done. So when you click play or run on this image, you'll get this optional settings that you can expand here. And you can see that it shows the default port numbers, but then the one that's actually entered is blank. And I've had issues before where I'm not able to access the container until I come here and explicitly put these values in. So just to make sure, I like to do this every time. And you can give the container a name if you want, otherwise it's going to throw in some random name here. So while that's booting up, I'm going to go to the images section here, and we're going to do the same thing and install the Appsmith container now. You'll want to use the EE version. So this will have all of the paid business and enterprise features included, but you can also just use the free version, and that will make it easier to upgrade later. So if you want to use the CE or Community Edition, that's fine. However, it's harder to upgrade. You'd have to export your apps and then re-import them later into the paid version. So if you think that you might want to upgrade later, it's easier to just start out using that EE image. So I'm going to go ahead and run this one as well. And now we should have Neo4j up and running. So if we look at it under the containers now, you can expand this, see all the ports. And so it shows that the Neo4j container is running, and the 7474 port, that's the one we want to use for the web interface. And so you can see we've got the database running here. It's going to give us this first access screen. And the very first time you go to log in, the password is Neo4j. It's the username and the password, but it will ask you to change it on the first login. So I'm going to enter that Neo4j password and then just create a new one. So now we have Neo4j up and running. I'm going to copy a query from a tutorial I have here on the community portal. So it's similar to what we're doing right here, setting up Neo4j and Appsmith locally. And if you scroll down here, I've got a sample query that we can copy. And this is going to create a couple nodes and edges that are connected so we can view it in the database. So just paste that into the command prompt here and click run. And you should see some nodes and edges that get created over here. And if you click on the little asterisk, that will select all of them so you can view it. So you can see that it's created 4 different nodes here that are related, and the relationships are directional and they have a context. It's not just a link. It shows that this user created this ticket, and this ticket has certain concerns about a dashboard. And then it also has a video. This ticket has a video about that feature. So with Neo4j, these relationships have a direction. They can be bidirectional, but that is part of the info that you're creating. When you set up the database and when you create these nodes, you're saying how these things are related. So Now that we have some data in here, we can try to connect from Appsmith so that we can query this database. So next, let's go back to our images. And you can see the Appsmith container is still downloading. Looks like that just finished. So now I'm going to run the Appsmith container. And again, I'm going to check out these settings and just make sure that the default port is entered here. I don't know if this is just an issue on Mac or the latest update, but I've just had a couple times where it's not accessible. So I'm going to name this one. I forgot that on the Neo4j one, but when you get a couple of them and they have random names, it's a little easier if you actually enter a name for each one. So give this a minute to boot up. All right, it looks like it's done starting up, so we can go to localhost. And here we'll set up the new server. Okay, so here you can just click Get Started to use the free version, or if you already have a license, you can enter it here. All right, so first we're going to create a new authenticated API. Now you can use the regular REST API if you want, but that has the credentials in plain text. So by making the data source first, we can store those credentials securely and then build APIs on top of it. So I'm going to head back to the tutorial here to grab the URL. When you're setting up this data source, instead of localhost, you have to use host.docker.internal because you're connecting from one image inside Docker to another. So to get from Appsmith inside Docker to Neo4j that's running in Docker, it's going to be this host.docker.internal and then colon and the port number 7474. So I'm going to copy this. We will enter that here. And I'm going to call this Neo4j. And then for the authentication, come down here and choose basic and then enter the username and password. All right, and then save this data source and we'll add our first API. So once that credential has been saved, you can create multiple APIs that are using that data source. And so here I'm creating a new REST API and we'll go back to the tutorial here. So what we're going to do is use a post request, and the endpoint is DB and then the name of your database. In this case, it's Neo4j. And then there's TX, I think is transaction and commit. So I'm just going to copy this path here, and that gets added on to the end of the URL. And this is a post request because we're sending some data with it. And then the data, we'll just copy this example here. Now this is a Cipher query. And what you do is you have an object that has a statements property, which is an array. And then that array can contain any number of statement objects. So in this case, we have a single statement object. And then the rest of it is a string that is a Neo4j query. So what this says is that we are trying to match all of the nodes. And here n is just being declared as a variable for the starting node. And then R is a relationship. Again, we're just choosing to call it R. It doesn't have to be that. And then here it's M for this node. Now, the parentheses and the square brackets, that is required. So this calls it a node, and we're giving it the name of N. Here we're creating a node with M, and we're asking for ones that are related. These can also be directional if you wanted to only filter where the relationships went in a certain direction, but I'm going to leave that out for now. And then we want to return those things that we've declared, as well as the type of relationship. So if you just return R, you can get any data that was stored at that node, but you might not have the type of relationship, like this video is about a certain topic, or this user created a ticket. And so I want to see those details as well. So we'll go ahead and run this. And we should get back some data from our Neo4j instance that's running locally here. All right, a little slow because I'm running this on a machine with only 8 gigs of RAM, and I have 2 different Docker containers running, but you can see that it has returned an array of columns. So you get this array telling you what columns are in the results, and those are the ones I asked for, just like in an SQL query where you can name those columns in your query. And then separate from that, we get an array of data, any errors, and bookmarks, which are like those pagination links. So most of the data that you want is here in that data array, which is an object, or rather an array of objects that have row data. So each one of these says, here's a row, and then the actual data that we used when creating that Cypher query back in Neo4j. So it's a little nested to get down to the actual data, but this structure allows you to see how all of those objects are related and then query across those relationships. This is the basics, just to get Neo4j running locally and then to be able to connect from Appsmith. From here, you can add new APIs and you could programmatically generate these statements in order to query based off of the value in a certain record. So maybe you select a table row and you want to use that name in your query. Or the other way around, you could take data from your API and send it to Neo4j and programmatically create a graph to use for your own GraphRag pipeline. All right, that's it for this tutorial on Neo4j and Appsmith. If you'd like to see more content on knowledge graphs and GraphRag, drop a comment below and let us know.